When's the last time you slept?
Last night. Got a good 8 or 9 minutes in.
Hey guys, how's it going? So today I am going to do a review of Gears of War 5, also known as Gears 5. Now this game was recently released on Xbox One and Windows 10. It was not released on like the normal Windows, like Windows 7, Windows 8, anything like that. It's exclusively on Windows 10, which forced me to request a Xbox One copy of the game instead of a Windows 10 copy of the game, because my PC does not run on Windows 10, because I do not wish to downgrade my PC to Windows 10 from Windows 7, so my PC still runs on Windows 7. So I absolutely refuse to downgrade my PC to Windows 10. So yeah, I had to do this review on Xbox One. So this footage that you are seeing here was taken on a Xbox One, but you couldn't hardly even tell the difference, since the game also looks extremely good on Xbox One. Obviously it would look better on a nice beefy PC, but yeah. So before I actually get to discussing the actual game and whether or not the game is worth buying or worth playing, there's a few things that we need to get out of the way. First off is the horrible use of DRM that Microsoft have gotten into. Currently Gears 5 is released and available for purchase, and there are thousands and thousands of people who can't play the game. Now this isn't some kind of a beta build or an early access build or anything like that. This is a full release of the game. The game is fully released, and yet there are thousands of people who can't play the game due to the DRM that Microsoft have put into this game. Even if you purchase the game on Steam, you first have to link your Steam with your Xbox profile, and the game is an always online game. So even if you want to play the campaign, which you would think is an offline campaign, you still have to be online, and you cannot play the campaign offline at all, which is just fucking ridiculous, to be completely honest with you. Why the hell do you need to be connected to the internet for an offline campaign? So that's the first major issue with this game. There are thousands of people who can't play this game due to the DRM that they have placed on this game. Legitimate people who actually paid their own money, and they can't play the game due to the incompetence and greediness of Microsoft's DRM. This is an issue which has come up throughout the past few decades since DRM has been implemented on games, and it has been said over and over again that DRM only hurts paying customers. It does not hurt pirates, because pirates are gonna pirate the game in any way. There is not a DRM currently in existence that pirates have not cracked. So why would you put DRM on your game if you know that pirates are going to get past it? DRM only hurts the paying customer, and the release of Gears 5 is a testament to that fact. Currently there are hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of the reviews on Steam of people complaining that they can't play the game. And the game's current review score on Steam is below 50%. That is incredibly bad. So that's the first major issue that I have with the game and the greediness of the studio that released it, which is Xbox Game Studios, also known as Microsoft Game Studios. And to be completely honest with you, we should not be surprised. I honestly was not surprised at all, because Microsoft Game Studios has not released a good game since 2010. It's almost a decade since they have released an actually good game. And that game's name, of course, was Fable 3. Since Fable 3, Microsoft Game Studios have not released a good game. Except maybe Quantum Break. Quantum Break was a pretty good game, but Quantum Break's Windows 10 version was also plagued with technical issues due to the useless Windows 10 platform. And fortunately, after that huge debacle with Quantum Break's Windows 10 version, they then released a version that does not require Windows 10 to play Quantum Break. And that version was vastly superior to the Windows 10 version. And in addition to their incompetence and their always online trash Windows 10 versions, they have also injected Gears 5 with a ton of microtransactions, despite the fact that this is a AAA $60 title. And if you want the Gears Ultimate Edition, then it's like $120. And you still have a ton of microtransactions infused in the game. And it's not just visual microtransactions, there are actually boosts that you can buy in the game which increase the rate at which you gain experience. So it's not just visual microtransactions, it's also microtransactions that you can use to gain an advantage in the game. And honestly, any game where you get microtransactions which you can gain a competitive edge over other players in the game, and you still charge a premium price for the game, a game such as that and the game studio that created can fuck right off, to be honest. There's absolutely no excuse for charging a full premium price for a game and then also stuffing it with microtransactions that also give you a competitive edge. So yeah, those are the two issues that I have with the game, and honestly, those issues by themselves are already enough for me to recommend that you do not purchase this game. Those already, without even considering whether the game is good or not, would make me not spend money on this game. But since this is a full review, I guess I have to tell you whether this is actually a good game or not. So first off, I will tell you the biggest problem that I have with this game. And that is the fact that it is incredibly short. The full campaign can be completed in like 10 hours. And that for a game which costs $60 is pretty rough. If I'm going to spend $60 in a game, I honestly want more than just 10 hours of gameplay. But that is the unfortunate truth of this game. You could almost compare it to Titanfall 2, where Titanfall 2's campaign was incredibly short. And Titanfall 2 obviously cost a full premium price upon release also. But the difference between this game and Titanfall 2 is that Titanfall 2 doesn't contain any microtransactions, and Titanfall 2 campaign was absolutely awesome for the 4 or 5 hours that it lasted. It was really an amazing campaign, quite easily the best campaign that I've ever played in such a short game. It's really worth the full price of admission just to be able to play that amazing campaign for 4 or 5 hours. Now, Gears 5, the campaign is not at all even close to Titanfall 2, to be honest. There's quite a lot of filler, and to be honest, out of that 10 hours or so that it will take you to complete the game, quite honestly, nearly 4 or 5 hours of that is cinematic cutscenes and dialogue and stuff like that. So honestly, the actual campaign where you are running around and shooting stuff is only around 5 hours long. So you're paying a full premium price of $60 or more if you buy the Ultimate Edition, and you only get 5 hours of okay campaign. I mean, it's really not groundbreaking or anything like what Titanfall 2's campaign was. And yeah, you only get about 5 hours of actual gameplay if you do not include the cinematics and cutscenes and all of that, because honestly, there is a shitload of the cutscenes and dialogue and all of that. Don't get me wrong, the cutscenes and all of that look very good. It's certainly a very pretty game, as you can see from the footage, but that does not make up for this being a $60 title. I mean, if you want a movie, if you want to watch a nice movie, then you can go watch a bunch of nice movies that will entertain you for 2 hours, and it will only cost you like $10. So you can go watch 6 movies if the thing that you are after is a nice visual experience. So this game does give you a nice visual experience for 5 hours, so I don't really consider that to be worth $60. For $60, having 5 hours of gameplay and 5 hours of cinematics, that's not really my idea of a good time. So yeah, to be honest, my biggest gripe with this game is the fact that it is so short and it is so packed with cinematics. If there were like 5 hours of cinematics and 20 hours of gameplay, that would be fine. I wouldn't really have a problem with that, but as I said, this game is 5 hours of cinematics and 5 hours of main campaign. And for $60, that's not at all worth it in my opinion. But apart from that, the game is Gears of War. Honestly, if you are even watching this video, then you probably have played some of the previous Gears of War titles, so you already know what the Gears of War franchise entails. You are a badass and you run around in a third person's perspective. You basically look over the guy's shoulder and you use cover. Cover is very important in the game, and you kill a bunch of enemies. That's basically the long and the short of what Gears of War is. You run and gun from cover to cover, just killing a bunch of enemies. And to be honest, this game is pretty much exactly the same as Gears of War 4 or Gears of War 3 or Gears of War 2. They all use pretty much the same formula, except this game has a shitload of microtransactions injected into it. So yeah, there's at least a little bit of a change there, but obviously it's not a good change at all. So yeah, the graphics is obviously good. As you can see, I really have no complaints about the graphics. It's a very pretty game, to be honest. The gameplay, like the actual 5 hours of gameplay, it's good. It's not bad. It's a good game. It will certainly keep you busy for 5 hours. So yeah, I guess it's a good game for 5 hours. If you do not like cinematics, you're not going to like this game, because as I said, you get 5 hours of cinematics in addition to the 5 hours of gameplay. And in addition to the single player campaign, there is also multiplayer. So you can join an online lobby, or you can create your own lobby and you can play online player versus player, and you can also play in a kind of a horde mode where there's basically a bunch of enemies that come at you, and you and your squad of 3 teammates have to kill the horde waves that come at you. But to be honest, it's not super fun. There's a bunch of issues with the online matchmaking, like I said. In a game like this where there's always online and you have to depend on Microsoft's service being online just in order to be able to play the game, that is a recipe for disaster. And a couple of times already when I have tried to join an online lobby, I've gotten various different error codes and problems with just trying to play the fucking game. So yeah, for $60 or $120, depending on what version you bought of the game, you get 5 hours of cinematics, 5 hours of a okay campaign, and after that there's not much left to do except go play in an online match or go play online against other players. But to be honest, if you don't like online play like I do, I'm not a huge online player. I much prefer single player content, like, you know, a story and all of that stuff, like Witcher 3 or anything like that, you know, single player campaign. Then this game is going to be a very big disappointment for you, because you're not going to enjoy the online play at all. And after that 5 hours of gameplay, 5 hours of cinematics, you're just really not going to have anything left to do. The game has zero replayability, so there's really no reason to play through the campaign again at all. So yeah, unfortunately, to be completely honest with you, this was just another huge disappointment from Microsoft Studios, and it just reinforces the current idea that Microsoft game studios are incapable of creating a good game anymore. Like I said at the beginning, since Fable 3 in 2009, they haven't created a good game since. Except maybe Quantum Break, even though Quantum Break was also plagued with the same Windows 10 bullcrap that this game is. So a lot of people couldn't even play Quantum Break when it was released due to this kind of crap. And Quantum Break was released over 3 years ago, and it seems that Microsoft Studios still have not learned from their utter fuck up that they did with Quantum Break, since they're still doing the exact same crap with this forcing Windows 10 down your throat and forcing always online bullcrap on actual paying customers, and just really disadvantaging them and not learning from their mistakes. They're just completely unable to learn from their mistakes due to their either stupidity or greed, or a combination of both probably. So yeah, in summation, this is not a game that I would recommend you buy. Honestly, 5 hours of okay campaign and 5 hours of cinematics is not worth $60 to $120. There's much better games that you can spend your money on if you're looking for either a very good single player campaign or a very good online shooter. Because this game is a combination of both, except it's not good or even adequate with any of those two things. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Oh shit, carrier! Crew, we can use those reinforcements right about now!
Condor's almost within range, Delta. Okay, kid, reinforcements incoming. I've got Guardians or DR1s. What do you want?
Drop us some DR1s!
You got it.
There they are! Finally!
now secure. Thank you for your assistance in this matter.
Hey, Control, that carrier's down. Thanks for the help.